All right. Welcome back, everyone, to podcast episode number 14. Dan's back in the cut, and we also have Vic here in the top left corner. What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, Three Stooges are back together.
Yeah, there we go.
Good, man.
Another week, another podcast here. So I kind of wanted to talk about this. Vic, you went to the game yesterday between the Jets and the Patriots, and I guess the big thing I wanted to ask here today, is Patriots dethrone the Bills as now they've claimed the AFC East Champs for the first time since I think it was 2019 or something like that. Since whenever Brady left, it was that was like the last time they got there. Drake Maye in his second year has now over 4,000 yards throwing. And against the Jets, he had 5 touchdowns in the third quarter, basically. By the time the third quarter hit, could have broken the record. But I just wanted to kind of talk about them dethroning the Bills, what it means for them, what it means for the Bills, and what do you take away from yesterday's game against the Jets from the Patriots?
And a lot. Like, a lot. Like, sitting there freezing my ass off watching the game, like, other than dealing with all the Patriot fans that were on the Jet side, mind you, a lot came into my head. Obviously, the first thing is the MVP, the strength of him being an MVP candidate. It was sung out throughout MetLife yesterday over every Jet fan there. And it made a little sense. Well, it made a lot of sense because when they took him out in the third quarter, like, obviously Dobbs isn't no great backup quarterback or nothing, but you could just see how stagnant the offense becomes when he's not in. You know what I mean? Like, the vision. They took out a couple of starters, obviously, but, like, just the way the ball moved down the field, like, it didn't really move. You got to see the defense get a little bit exposed when they're not moving down the field. Like, they do a good job of keeping their defense off the field. Just because they're able to score. Granted, it was the Jets, and granted, they only have 2 wins against teams that are over 500. I just want to throw that out there, Patriot fans. No shade on y'all. But it's good for the organization. Like, it's huge for them to take the division. What Mike Vrabel's been able to do with that team in just 2 years. I wish the Jets would take some notes because we've been trying to do what he just did in 2 years for that organization, and we still haven't been able to figure it out. So it's big. It's a big morale booster. It's great. It's a great energy vibe for them to go into the playoffs knowing that they took the lead in the division. Obviously, when May came out yesterday, I seen the defense was getting exposed because they were out on the field longer, so that's an issue that they're going to have to deal with going into the playoffs, whoever it is that they play. They got playmakers. Diggs and May got such good chemistry together. Seeing it live, other than on TV, is different. And I get it was against the Jets, who are just horrendous in every statistical notion possible. But oh shit, my cherry went out. Just the chemistry that they got, man. Like, his placement on the ball, where he puts the ball for these guys. And the composure. He's got such composure and pocket presence. Granted, we didn't have much of a pass rush, but that's something that you grow throughout the season and you strengthen. So he's got great poise in the pocket. He does a good job of getting to his checkdowns. When the pressure's on, he gets out of the pocket. He's able to get rid of the ball quick. He puts the ball where it needs to be. So he does a lot of good things for them. He gives them, obviously, a great opportunity to win. The record shows it. But, what else did I have here? Yeah, the biggest thing, too, that I'm looking at is that they were 8-0 on the road this season. 5-3 at home. So this kind of gives them that home field advantage going into the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they locked up the seed throughout the whole playoffs.
No, they did not. I mean, if they burst the Broncos at the moment.
The Broncos have it.
But that's okay. If the Broncos lose next week and they win, then they get it. But right now, no, yeah, they are still second seed at the moment to the Broncos.
Yeah, them and the Broncos are tied right now. It's 13-3 apiece.
They're clearly a better team on the road. Not saying that's a huge factor, but, it can factor in on playoffs. I've seen teams that just play better on the road. Like the Giants used to do it all the time when they made the postseasons. They just were great on the road. Like, they never had the chance to host the games at home because of that way that division was. But some teams are just really great on the road, and they can take that in, and even if it's just that one thing they're great in, they can ride that out. But yeah, a lot of good things. Obviously, a bunch of obnoxious Patriot fans at my game, very prideful. But yeah, I mean, New England went in there. I did exactly what I expected them to do. I didn't think it was going to be a 45-10 game. I mean, it was 35-3 at the half, and the Jets just had like no life in them. They looked like they checked out for the season already. But yeah, I mean, kudos to Vrabel and to May, for the season that they've had. I still think that they have a test in front of them going into the postseason. Playing teams that it's a one-game elimination. They're going to see teams that they haven't really gotten a chance to see all season that are playing just as hot as they are, and they got to be damn near perfect in order to win these games. But yeah, he's definitely the commander on that offense, May, and I think he does have a strong run at MVP. I mean, he could have definitely broken the record yesterday if they left him in. I'm glad they didn't. It would have probably been a 70-3 game, honestly. And I would have stayed and watched the whole damn thing anyway, just because of my parlays. But yeah, man, Vrabel and May did a good job this season, locking down the division, and just staying hot going into the postseason. Just doing what they got to do, playing solid football, playing clean football, and explosive in Drake May's performance throughout. But I still am yet to see him battle tested, which is what I'm waiting to see.
Okay.
See, when you're looking at what's going on in the AFC East right now, you're looking at and you can compare it to the AFC West. Like, when you look at the AFC West, you had Kansas City, who was the top dog in that division for how many years now, with Patrick Mahomes at the helm running that team. And now you see the Broncos and Chargers building their team to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes and giving them chances to battle the Chiefs because that was the top team. And you see that in the AFC East now with the Patriots. The Bills were the top team in that AFC East. The Miami Dolphins, yeah, okay, they were competing with the Bills for a few years with Tyreek and Tua. But even then, they weren't like... It was just the Bills, the clear favorite to win that division year after year. And now you see that the Patriots have Drake Maye, they have a young core, and they're building it to be able to compete with the Bills. And when you have two powerhouse teams like that in your conference, it's very hard not to build your team around to be able to beat the two top dogs. And you see that with the Patriots. Yeah, Drake Maye, he came into himself in year 2, and he's definitely not having a sophomore slump this year. Like you said, he has over 4,000 yards. But, yeah, the Patriots, but I don't think I think this is more of a morale boost for them, knowing that they can compete with the Bills, because even the 2 games they had, they won one and lost one. So it's not like the Bills are that much further ahead than they are. But I don't think this demoralizes the Bills, because the Bills have a shot to go in and actually play, get a couple more games under their belt for Josh Allen to be a playoff, to see how he is in the playoffs, because we know he had those threats of Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, all these top quarterbacks, and he couldn't get through them in the AFC. And now he just has to get through Drake Maye, and I think Drake Maye and Bo Nix are the 2 top quarterbacks right now. I mean, and Trevor Lawrence, if you want to consider him, because Jacksonville's 12-4. But the path is wide open for the Bills to go in and actually try to make a name for themselves this year. But I think with Drake Maye, I don't think anybody expected Drake Maye to have the season he had this year. Is it MVP caliber? Absolutely, but with all the other players that have been having the seasons like they had, even Jonathan Taylor. But here's the thing, they're not in the playoffs, so it's like, is he the MVP favorite right now? Probably, when you look at it.
Pat, your mic can't hear you.
Yeah, your mic, Pat.
Hello? Good call? All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry. Sorry, my ADHD sometimes I hit this thing. I'm not used to this thing being my mute thing now because like I'm at a hotel right now. I'm not even at my new place yet. Yeah, I could see Drake May being being a candidate for the MVP. I mean, it's I think right now clear cut. Jonathan Taylor would have been good 6 weeks ago. At this point, I think he's out of the running. He's had a bad showing the last few weeks, or just like average showings. Really, nothing too crazy to me. So for me, I don't even have him up there anymore. My MVP right now is between him and Stafford, possibly. If you want to
Same
give
here.
it there, that's like kind of how I have it going. So, I mean, and Bo Nix is good. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like I feel like on that team in specific, between them and the Patriots, I kind of feel like the Patriots are more offensive heavy, even though the defense plays good on there. But I feel like the offense of the Patriots outleads the Broncos offense. I feel like the entire Broncos are based off of how good their defense plays against the pass and the rush, and basically being able to get their opponents off the field to give them the most opportunities available. Nothing against Bo Nix. I think he's a great QB as well, just not out of the QBs right now that I'm not putting him in MVP status at the moment. Right now, it's between Drake May and Matthew Stafford. Which, if Matthew Stafford wins, he'll be the first ever. He'll be the oldest MVP to have ever been crowned who's never been an MVP before. So he'll be like the oldest person to have never gotten it who has now gotten it. So which would be a cool storyline. Drake May getting it in his second season is kind of daunting for the rest of the NFL because if he gets it, now we got to wonder about what's going on next season and the year after that. Do we have another Tom Brady on the hands? Like, I don't think I'm never going to say anyone's going to be the next Tom Brady because Tom Brady was in a league of his damn own. But Drake May definitely, I think even last season came out and looked great, and with the team he had looked great, and now this year he just looks so much more polished, and so I'm excited about that. As far as dethroning the Bills, I think this is big for the Patriots to have done that, and I do think. I watched the game yesterday as well. I know Vic was at the game, probably driving and whatnot. So I don't know how much of the Bills game you have to catch between the Eagles or whatnot. But I did get to catch the Eagles versus the Bills game because, like you, I had a parlay set that I did not reach because, James Cook getting hurt for a quarter and a half and A.J. Brown not getting a touchdown because I don't know why I even went with a Phillies goddamn wide receiver to get a touchdown for me. That was my mistake.
That's just bad luck.
That's a recipe for disaster for me. So I did that. I said, screw it. Let's just do it. Run the table. And then didn't hit. But, I watched that game in full, and I could see towards the end of just them versus the Eagles, Josh Allen's this very calm, poised, and collected guy. We look at him as like, he is like the, as everyone calls him, like the Superman of the league. This guy is like a abnormal monster of a QB. But I saw yesterday something that I don't really typically see from him. And when you do see it, it kind of like scares me in a sense for his team. Because like for him he got pissed yesterday. I saw him get pissed. And I don't really see him get pissed too often. But yesterday, when I saw him get pissed, that was like it. You could tell, like, the team was like, oh, shit, man. We kind of messed up, like, badly. And they did come back, and they got a touchdown at the end. But, again, you have to be thankful that defense did what it did, that the Eagles were struggling, and the fact that the Eagles in general just were not having a good offensive night either themselves. But, I mean... Yeah, no, Josh Allen was getting pissed. He's playing on an injured foot right now. I do not think after knowing that they can't make first seed anymore, I do think they will bench him next week. I don't think he's playing week 18 versus the Jets.
No.
I just don't think so. Because he got re-injured twice in the last game versus Philly. He got sacked, I think it was 5 times that game, and he was just not looking. He was hobbling. So he's like definitely, I'm assuming he's taking the day off versus the Jets, so he could go into his potential matchup come week 17, which if they do lose this upcoming game, they are already in the 7th seed, so if they remain in the 7th seed, then at the current moment, they will be versing the Patriots in the wild card round. That will be the matchup come Wildcard Weekend if that remains the same. But we'll kind of talk about that kind of stuff later. But I do think this is a big deal because I think Josh Allen, has been the ruler of the AFC East. Now you got this guy coming in saying, I'm the new kid on the block, and he's got your former number one wide receiver, which the Bills could really use right now because, again, what I witnessed last game was the Bills don't have anything if James Cook is not elite. Like they have, and I'm not. This is not against Josh Allen. Just Josh Allen doesn't have the targets to throw to anyone. He has Kincaid, who was out, and he has James Cook, who got injured for a quarter and a half. And the offense took an extreme plummet in that time for them to really do much with it. So I'm looking at this matchup going, all right, the Patriots look good right now. I think Drake Maye looks incredible. I think their defense could look good against the right team. I don't think they're the perfect defense, as we discussed, like with the Bears and whatnot. But even the Bears got not exposed, but they got kind of torched on defense this week against San Fran last night.
They did, but that game was a play away.
That was a
they
play
lost
away.
By one play.
Yep. But it's like,
Literally.
still, even the defense, like the San Fran putting up 42 points, that was a big deal against the Bears. That was like a good game.
But also them giving up 38 points as well.
Yeah,
it goes both ways. Like that was a playoff game right there. That was a glimpse of the playoffs.
That's what I want to see so bad because that match was so good. I was like, oh man, I'm not I hate game. Sunday night. I do not like Sunday night games because typically if they don't come out like that, I'm disappointed. That was just. I had so much fun watching that game, dude. I was like, oh, this is what I need in Wildcard Weekend. It was just so perfect. But I think that we could see things like that. But I think that, Drake Maye coming in and showing that their offense can absolutely do what they need to do, whether it be against the Jets. They've done it against the Bills. They could do it against a lot of teams. Like you said, they've only beaten 2 teams above 500. Granted, that's going to be the hard part, seeing what they have here. Plus, their playoff experience is very limited. I mean, who on the Patriots really has a lot of playoff experience besides Stephon Diggs at this point? Everyone else is young.
And their head coach.
As
far as a player.
Yeah. But it's like, he's not out there on the field. The players got to do what the players got to do at that point. He could tell them the blueprint, but they have to follow it. And that's hard to do when you don't have the playoff experience in those tough moments. Like we said, a game could be a game away. Like against the Bears and San Fran. So that lack of experience could really catch up to someone like Drake Maye in an experienced battle against someone like Josh Allen in game 1, coming straight into it.
Not only that, teams play a hell of a lot different in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. It's like a different level. Their levels elevate when it comes to playoffs.
That's why I say it's a different level between the experience and non-experience. I think it's just something that we're gonna have to see him come out with.
Can we see an elevated level of Drake Maye, and even if that's possible, to compete with the likes of like a Josh Allen's elevated level?
Well, that's what we're gonna see.
It's going to be interesting.
We're going to see, because even though Josh Allen is the best he can be at the moment, it still stands on paper they don't have a number 1 receiver. They throw the ball around a lot, which could be good, but I mean, if you could stop James Cook like they did yesterday with Philly, it's going to be a hell of a night for Buffalo, and Buffalo was at home for that. So it's like, even again, it's just one of those things that knowing how to play against that offense is huge, and being able to stop it is even better, because they rely on that run game with that bread and butter, because James Cook opens that offense so much. But Drake Maye definitely, I think, could be a MVP caliber kind of guy. But I kind of wanted to touch real quick, because speaking of like matchups that are like coming up here, there are 2 matchups in Week 18 that we will see that this is the deciding factor for these games. With the Steelers' loss against the Browns, shockingly, we talked about that last week, Vic, with the DK Metcalf. Same. Now you got to think, does that make a difference? Did that right there make a difference already? Because now you're putting yourself in a spot where Lamar Jackson can come in and go, I am playing Week 18, and he could run away with that game, especially if Henry has another game like he just had this week, and then you add what Lamar could do. We could see the improbable happen, and the Steelers could be knocked out next week by losing to the Baltimore Ravens. And then you also have the Carolina Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. Again, another division rivalry matchup that basically decides who's getting in and who's getting out. Tampa Bay is incredibly lucky that Carolina could not keep it together. And there's just a lot that goes on here. So I want to ask you guys, who comes out of these matchups? Who's making the playoffs between these teams? Like, who do you guys got? Who deserves these spots more? Like out of these four teams, like who are you rooting for in the AFC and the NFC side of these teams here to make the playoffs on this last week?
You can go first, Dan.
Man, this is tough because when you look at the Ravens, the season they had and had to bounce back, started 1-5, or 1-5 in the first 6 weeks. Everybody was looking at them like one of the worst defenses in the league with the defense they had. How can that defense be? How can that defense be this bad? The offense, Derrick Henry fumbling 3 times in back-to-back games the first 3 weeks. Then he got his stuff under control. Lamar Jackson's been injured, and even then, he's been playing decent throughout his weeks with the team the last 8 weeks. So this team is looking like a different team that they played Pittsburgh in week 14, so it's like, and lost, but it's very toss-uppy with this the AFC North. Because like we said, the Ravens were looking like one of the top teams to ultimately make the playoffs at the beginning of the season, and nobody saw these issues popping up with the Ravens. And now you have Pittsburgh, who has been an inconsistent team, but getting the job done when it matters in most games. But they've been looking very inconsistent, especially with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. But, when you look at it, I think Baltimore has the higher chance to make it, because if they can get their team gelling and beat the Steelers, I think I think the playoffs at this point are so wide open that if the Ravens do get in, they can have a fighting chance to make the Super Bowl. And you look at other teams, and I just don't think the Steelers have what it takes to run through the AFC to make the Super Bowl this year with the team that they have on paper. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to do what Aaron Rodgers does, but it's just on paper-wise, their defense hasn't been looking that strong. Their offense has been, like I said, has been pretty inconsistent at times, even though they do get by and get the job done at times in the final plays. But that's because everybody knows Aaron Rodgers is that fourth quarter, 2-minute type quarterback. That if you put the ball in his hands, he's going to get the job done. But I think the Ravens can definitely beat the Steelers this week and get that last spot in the AFC North. But when you look at the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, both teams have definitely had their struggles this year. And Carolina had that win streak that they went on. They went on I don't even think they went on a win streak. I mean, they had that 3-game win streak earlier on in the season. But they've been in these very close games, and they already beat Tampa Bay. And we said that was going to be a big game for them to see if they could even beat Tampa Bay. And they did beat them, even though it came down to a field goal. They beat them. So it's like, can Tampa Bay get back into a playoff spot that they've been fighting for this whole year? And the offense has just been, I know they've been injury-ridden offense, but still, it's like you had guys like Mbuka all year playing and being on the decline, and it's like, what can Tampa Bay do to win this game when the game is, I think it's at Tampa, so they have that home field advantage, but who knows? This game is more of a toss-up from my understanding. Because Tampa, Drake Maye has been 3,500 yards for him. The run game has been a little weak. I mean, yeah, Rashid White has 549 yards, but even then, I feel like that's a little weak when you have a decent running quarterback. But Is Mike Evans playing in this game?
I have no idea
Yeah,
yet.
he
as far
played.
as
He just played this week as well.
he played this week.
He
Oh, yeah, I
played
didn't catch that matchup.
Yeah, his first game
So
back.
yeah, I would like to give the edge. I would like to give the edge to Tampa Bay, being that they have their guys in Buka and Mike Evans there. But this game, I feel like, is a toss-up, just like the first game we saw from them.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna run through. I'm gonna go through the Steelers and Ravens first. Yeah, yesterday's game. Obviously, Metcalf not being there put a little lump in that offense. I don't even think that was the true issue, though. I mean, the game was nowhere near what I was expecting to see. You just seen some really piss poor play from Rodgers on a lot of third downs, making some really questionable throws and putting themselves in like 3rd and 6, and he's like, he'll throw a little dunk pass for an incompletion. Like, he just did not look on at all. And I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback in the AFC right now, but he's playing at a competitive level. He did not look all there yesterday. They started off slow and they finished off horrible. They just couldn't sustain any drives, really. I don't know what the weather was on that game. I was tracking it at the Jets game for the most part, some highlights here and there. It was just an ugly game on both sides. But I'm taking, even if in this last game I'm gonna take the Steelers, even if Lamar comes back, I'm gonna take the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers bounces back and has a cleaner game against a weaker defense in Baltimore, who has just shown that they give up lots of big plays and points this season. Yeah, Derrick Henry had a good game yesterday. But he hasn't been consistent this whole year. You know what I mean? Like, his name is a presence, but he hasn't been the back that we've seen him be. And Metcalf's still out for this next game as well, right? It was a two-game suspension.
2-game suspension for him.
Yeah, I think he comes out. He plays a better game. He gets his bearings down. He makes better plays. He makes smarter throws. And also. And, they got a pretty good rush defense. Like, it's not the best. Yeah, I think they're 13th right now, but they do a good job at slowing the run down. Like, they didn't really run the ball at all yesterday, Cleveland. They haven't ran the ball really good all year anyway. I think they'll do a good enough job of slowing him down. If Lamar decides to play, because I know he was on the IR, I don't know if he's going to just jump up and be like, oh, we got a chance for the playoffs. All right, I'm back in.
Yeah.
Or if he already checked out and he booked his trip to Cancun or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could be like the Ravens could come out and steal it. I got confidence. I think Pittsburgh's defense will hold out and I think they'll outscore Baltimore, even if Lamar's playing. They'll slow down the run game. I think Rodgers gets his grips back and realizes this is probably his last year. And maybe if Lamar plays, the weight of the game for both QBs holds a lot, because Rodgers can say, I either go out in the playoffs or I go out right now. And Lamar, like, man, I could slip in some damn how and maybe make a circus in a playoff run, But I'm gonna take the Steelers, and that they edge out Baltimore, whether he's playing or not. Just Baltimore, both teams, like Dan said, have kind of been inconsistent with the offenses. I'm just gonna give it to the Steelers defense. I think they'll do a better job at holding, and I got them getting over the Ravens. Even without Metcalf, and then obviously when Metcalf comes back, whoever they play in the first round, we'll get into that obviously later.
Yeah.
And then out of the Tampa Bay and Carolina, I ain't gonna take nothing away from Carolina, obviously, because like they both had their struggles this season. I was surprised that Carolina, even the game yesterday they played against Seattle, like they were out of that game and they managed to push themselves back into that game quite a bit. Showed a little resilience and grit. But like. Man, like, I can't steer away. Tampa Bay, I get it's part of the game to play with all these damn injuries, but they are battle-tested, Tampa Bay. All right? And Mayfield is battle-tested. Throughout this whole season, they've played good teams with a banged-up roster. He hasn't performed nowhere near as he did last year. He's sitting in the middle of the pack with a bunch of these, not average, but, like, above average quarterbacks, you know what I mean? It's, him, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, like all these guys are pretty close statistically. But I gotta go. I'm gonna go with him. Like, They just got healthy. They're on a huge losing streak right now. Huge Tampa Bay. I think they've lost like the last 4 games or whatever it was. I believe.
Yeah, they're on a
I mean,
4-game
didn't they
losing
win?
streak.
Yeah, they're on a 4-game losing streak. Some of those games were just like even the Atlanta game. Like some of these games were just like right there, and some of these games that they just lost. I think the biggest thing going into the Carolina game, like Bowles needs to talk to that defense because that's the only thing that's going to win them this game. I think their offense will click a little bit better than it did this week. Just because the guys are back and maybe he gets a little more confidence with Mike Evans back in the rotation and getting a nice long week of practice in, building that chemistry back up and I feel like Mike's gonna come out and have a good game and Baker will tighten up his play. But the biggest part is Tampa Bay. Like, their defense has to come out because it was a close game, the Seattle game yesterday, right, with the Carolina? Did they come back
It was pretty close.
and lose by 3 or something like that?
Yeah, like a 4-point loss. I think it was like 20-16 or something like that.
And they showed that they could play some ball against the defense. You know what I mean? Like, so Tampa Bay's defense has to come out and play damn near close to Seattle's. And force this guy because Bryce Young didn't have an amazing game. Even though they came back, like it wasn't like a stellar performance on him. I don't really even know how they managed to slip their way back into that game. Because I didn't watch it, like I said. But I'm gonna go. He's battle tested, man, and it feels right. Like after all the crap they've been going through this season, that they get on the right track and they finish the game with a win against Carolina and sneak their way in. I'm pulling for Mayfield. I think he can do it. I'm not taking nothing away from Young and Carolina, what they've been able to do, turn their season around from early on and go on a little late season tear. But, this is it. It's like these are 2 games, elimination games. Like, you're in if you win and you're out if you lose. Like, it's all on the line for all the marbles and everything just to get into a wild card spot or just to be in the postseason. So I think Tampa Bay gets it done. They find a little bit of a defensive uprising come to light, and Mayfield gets it done. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's who I'm going with. That's all I got for that.
Okay. I'm going to go into this saying I'm going to start off with the Steelers and the Ravens game real quick as well. I think right now, looking at these teams, the DK Metcalf thing now really resonates hard because it's like, man, you got that 2-game suspension, and it could very much cost you the season. That is the only deciding factor here that I'm really looking at is the fact that they lost their number 1 receiver for Pittsburgh, and I think against a team like Cleveland, you should be winning that game 9 out of 10 times for the most part. I don't know how you even let that get to this point here right now because you had a 2-game lead. Now we're talking about, hey, winner take all, coming into week 18. And for me, I don't like the fact that Lamar was out this last game. I think he took off just for himself. I don't think he believed in the. For me, it kind of feels like he quit on the team this year. After that, when he got injured, he's like, yeah, my back still hurts. I'm gonna stay out. Like, I don't believe in that personally, but it is what it is. Whether it was real or not, whether it's happened or not, I think that even when he's in this game, if his mindset was already not at, it's going to be a 10, we're going to play like a 10, we're going to play like a team that is going to be in the Super Bowl coming up, I don't have them winning, period. So I am going to take someone like Aaron Rodgers who might have the mindset of, yeah, this is my last year. I'm hungry for this. We don't know if it is, but it could very well be his last year. So for me, I'm looking at this as a mindset game between the 2 QB battles here. And I just think Lamar Jackson just doesn't have that fight in him right now. If he does come back, I'm sure he'll do well, but I don't just think well enough to beat that defense. The rush defense, like you had pointed out before, for me, just they have the capability of stopping Lamar or Henry. Because Henry, even though I think he has something close to 1,400 yards, he's had a great season, granted. But he's, again, I also don't find him to be consistent enough for me to, because I think he has these games where he goes on big tears and then he goes on like a 2-game stretch, which he doesn't do anything. So it's like Is he good? Yeah. It's Derrick Henry, for God's sakes. But I think, like you said before, it's more so just the presence of his name rather than him being, the force that we had once known him to be. He still can be that, but I just don't know if it's going to come out week 18 versus the Steelers. I just don't know if that's happening here. It is a big rivalry game. I am going to take the Steelers in this one. Without DK Metcalf is one thing, but even if you don't have, even if Lamar's in, that's going to be a troublesome thing with the mindset thing. But I don't even know if he's playing. So at the moment, I'm still going to just go Steelers regardless because I think they just have that little bit more oomph that I'm hoping to see out of them to make it into the playoffs. Maybe this is to them was just more like, okay, whatever, we're versing Cleveland right now. We are without Metcalf. Let's just get through this game and get on to the next one and really lock in week 18. Really piss poor excuse, but I just think that Rodgers is going to come out more with that I need to win now attitude, and it's the only way he's going to get through this. And I do think that we'll see Steelers get into it and make it into the wild card as the fourth seed. Do I see them making it far into the playoffs? No. I think they're simply going to get into the playoffs and probably lose the first matchup they take, which I don't know who they're versing yet. I'll go into that here soon when we talk about that topic later on in the podcast. But I just think right now, when it comes into it right now, I think whoever they verse at the fourth seed, whoever's the fifth seed versing them is going to beat them. I just don't know who it's going to be, but I think the 5, the 6, and the 7 seeds are all tougher than them. They are going to be the weakest team in the playoffs to me, as far as the AFC side goes, and that's just how I have it. So I think whoever they verse, whether it be Houston, the Chargers, or Buffalo, they're going to end up losing either one of those three games. But I am thinking that the Steelers might pull this one off against the Ravens at the very least. Going into the NFC here with the uh, Tampa Bay Bucks and the Carolina Panthers. My whole thing here is when I'm looking at this, is I seen something on the bench because I didn't get to fully watch the game, but from what I saw through the highlights and what I saw through the end of that game at the very least, because I got to catch like the last few drives of that game. What I saw Baker Mayfield, as we know, is this big, cocky, arrogant guy that has the attitude of a dude who wants to talk shit to everyone. But when I seen him on the bench yesterday, when he was like miserable, he just looked miserable. I mean, there's really no else to put it. He just looked someone that was defeated. He looked like someone that was just over it. He was tired. He's like, I think this season has been a big wear and tear on him with all the injuries that they had because this season could have been really great for them. I was rooting for them at the beginning of the season, and I said that this team could have been like an NFC conference kind of team with going into everything healthy. But right now, I am going to take Carolina win this game because I think right now Bryce Young is doing something that I don't think anyone expected of him. He's having a pretty decent season. He's doing good on his he's a little bit more than happy. He's like 21-10 or something like that as far as his TD to interception ratio at the moment, and he's got like somewhere under 3,000 yards, but I don't think it's that far off. He's still doing pretty decent,
2,700.
2,700 yards. So for me, he's still doing pretty decent like on there. And then they got Dowdle there as their running back, and he has not fumbled all year. And I think that he's going to go into this game probably take off because Tampa Bay's run game to me is not it. Bucky Irving, since returning, has not done anything. I know that because I have him on fantasy for certain, and I can promise you that he has not done shit for me.
Didn't do
So
shit yesterday.
nope, didn't do. That's why he's benched for me. That's why Chase Brown took his spot, and thank you for Chase Brown for dropping 32 points in my league. It's not going to help me anything, but I appreciate it. But yeah, no, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that team like it's the run game on Tampa isn't clicking. They're not doing anything. Bucky Irving has to come out and actually do something because Rashad White is not the guy for me to be their number one dude. And even if he is, if that is your number one guy, especially with the injuries, again, this is another situation where this team coming into the playoffs, either way, is going to be the weakest team in the playoff race right now for me because the wild card for the entirety of the NFC is insane. They're all better teams. But I think that Carolina has a fighting chance against some of these teams that I think Tampa Bay, even though they are battle tested, even though they are like kind of more of like the veteran agent here, I just think that at the moment when I'm looking at this team, I don't see the fight in them. I don't see that willingness to win games like we saw at the beginning of the season because beginning of the season, Mahomes, I'm sorry, not Mahomes. Beginning of the season, Baker Mayfield, I think we would have seen win yesterday's game, but he didn't. By the way, this is being shot on Monday. I don't know if I need to make that clear. Monday night's game has not even happened yet. But on circumstances that we have to record today. Um, but yeah, I think going into this, I don't know. I think like Baker Mayfield would have won last night's game if it was the beginning of the season. He would have. I think he would have actually. This wouldn't be a discussion. But I think late season, these last 4 games being all losses, I think have been demoralizing for him. And I don't see them coming out into the last week going, you know what? Today's the day we turn it around. They could very well prove me wrong here. I just don't know if I see that coming out of them right now after what I've seen on the bench, how I seen the demeanor of Baker Mayfield, how I seen the press conferences from them, and just going, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just nothing's really vibing there for me for it. So I'm gonna take Carolina to win this one and get into the 4th seed for the first time in a little bit. I don't remember the last time they made playoffs, but it's gonna be the first time I think in a little while.
I think with Cam, right?
Probably, I don't know. Like I can't really think of anyone else besides that would really compute into it. So, but that's who I got here. Um, and then you know what? Speaking of teams that we think might not make it, which we already know aren't making it, we had the Toilet Bowl game this week, or the Tankathon, between the Giants and the Raiders. Now, the winner of this game, the loser of the game, would control the number 1 overall pick of the draft at the current moment, and going into Week 18, can successfully tank their season to make sure it was the worst as possible. Both these teams did not sit their starters. For the Raiders, probably the better choice because I think Pickett probably would have won you the game as to where Geno Smith lost you it. I think the Giants should have put Wilson in and not Dart. I don't understand how we're not doing that. What was the losing recipe was Wilson.
So the
Why is he
Raiders
not in?
did sit somebody. They put Matt Crosby on the IR, and he posted
on
a
the
video
IR of him playing basketball.
Of him playing basketball.
So I mean, there goes that. So I mean, that happened. That's another controversial thing, which we'll have to look into because I think that's got to be like a an investigation kind of thing here because I don't know how that works out here. You say that this guy is on the IR. Clearly, there's tanking going on because you quite literally said, "Hey, you're going on the IR." He just came out with a statement saying, "No, I'm going into this game like I want to win. There's no such thing as me wanting to lose." He came out with a winner's attitude, and he got benched for it and said they got put him on the IR for whatever reason. So the NFL is going to have to look at that personally. I think that's just kind of like that's really shitty because obviously we know they're trying to tank, but for God's sakes, to do that and then Max Crosby to kind of blow that up in your face, someone's got to get fined for that, or there's going to be repercussions happening to the Raiders if they do win that number 1 overall pick. But what does this mean for the Giants having won this game and lost the number 1 overall pick? What does it do for the Raiders if no fines or anything like that happen? What does this all mean? Like, what does this number 1 pick mean for these two teams here?
The Giants are such a bad NFL team that they can't even lose to control the number 1 overall pick. It's so devastating when you look at the Giants. We were like, we had hope that this team was going to be able to compete this year, and then we see what we saw. That blowout loss, the lead that we had against the Broncos, to that 4th quarter stumble, these games happened in the Giants, and we can't take that away. But going into one of the last games of the season, you decide you want to win 34-10 for the 1st round pick. It's like, are you such a bad organization that you can't even win at something at being a 1st round draft pick holder? And now we're down to the 3rd round pick, and we could go lower.
No, we can go to the 5th
if I just looked at it. I thought it said we're 3rd.
No, 3rd is the Jets at the current moment.
The Jets and Raiders are over us.
No, the Jets are considered 3rd because of the strength of schedule. The Giants are number 2 at the moment, as far as I've seen. That's what I seen literally last night, and that was after the Jet game and the Giant game being played. The Raiders are number 1. That's number 1 pick. That's how I have it here. But continue on. Whatever. Just go do your thing.
Yeah, I do think. Yeah, no, I see that the Giants are Yeah, right now it says the Giants are the 3rd-round pick. The Jets are the 2nd.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that's projected. Yeah, that's projected draft slots. So yeah, and we can go down to even be a top 5 pick because if if we win this week and the Cardinals lose, they bump up over us and get the 3rd-round pick, and then you also have the Titans. So it's like we're going from having the 1st-round pick to having a 5th-round pick. It's ridiculous what the Giants do.
For overall, not round, by the way. Keep saying round.
Or yeah, 5th-round overall pick. Sorry.
No, 5th overall pick, not 5th round. You said it again. You literally just said it again. It's the 5th overall pick in the 1st round.
Pick. But yeah, it's very. The Giants couldn't even keep the number 1 overall pick. It's horrible.
I'll go into it next here. I think that right now I'm looking at this game going, okay, Deonte Banks did something for the first time this season. Useful. He did something useful this game, and it's the first time he needed to be as useless as possible. And he did the exact opposite of that. And he scores to open up with a 95-yard kickoff return to get them 7 points. Why? Why'd you need to do that? There was no reason for that. Stop running. There was no. I don't know what you celebrated for. If the fans would have thrown shit at you, I would not have judged them at that moment. I still don't want that happening. But yeah, Deonte Banks gets a kick return for the first time this season. Hooray! And then Jackson Dart gets 2 rushing touchdowns. And again, I get it. You don't want to look like you're tanking or whatever the case is, and whatever. For me, it does suck not having the number 1 overall pick because I wanted them to, be able to trade down. But honestly, right now, as I'm looking at it through a Giants fan's lens, there's really no need. They would have traded with the Jets because the Jets were going to be the team that needed the quarterback, and that would have been that. But right now, the Jets are the 3rd overall pick in the 1st round. And what's it called? I don't see them needing to really necessarily trade too much up to even get the number 1 spot if it was against the Giants. So even if they had done the first, they would have probably done a first and maybe a late draft pick instead of what was expected to be maybe 2 firsts even out of this draft. So I don't see that really going. And they're versing the Bills, I think, week 17. So I don't see them even winning that game. So I mean, it could just be they just take the number 2 spot and that's it. Done. Easy done. But if the Giants are the 3rd overall pick right now, that doesn't bother me. If they drop down to 5, it doesn't bother me. If they're not trading down for anything, then it is what it is. It sucks because we could have gotten more draft capital, sure, absolutely. But unless those 2 draft capital pieces were in the 1st round, it wasn't going to matter to me. Because all I was looking forward to was them picking up a wide receiver and then them maybe picking up a defensive piece to back that up or something like that, or even an offensive lineman that can take over that right tackle spot. But that would have been it. So right now I'm looking at 5th overall pick. They're probably not getting Avril Reese because I think that's the guy that everyone wants them to get is the linebacker right now, which I think I'm on the opposite side of the fan base when it comes to this, and I want them to get a wide receiver. So at the 5th pick, I can say confidently they'll probably get someone like Carnell Tate or Tyson or whatever. So I mean, I'm not really looking at this too crazy. It's not like the biggest deal on the planet to me. It did suck to see them lose that, but again, unless it was going to be with the Jets, they really weren't going to I don't think they were going to get much in return the trade for this year, and that's what I really wanted them to focus on. So if they grab a wide receiver, great. If they pick up a linebacker, great. And I'm just going to point this out real quick because Giants fans, there's just some of them that irk my goddamn soul, and I just want to point this out here. No, the Giants going after defensive tackle is not the move for them to do in the 1st fucking round. I'm sorry. I even had a curse there. That was the dumbest thing I've seen so far out of all of this stuff. And I'm going to make this one a reel so everyone can see that because I think that's the thing I need to do here. But I think that the Giants going for a 1st overall, if they were to get the 1st overall, trade down to the 3rd, them going for a defensive tackle in the 1st round is the dumbest thing that the Giants could do. They don't need a defensive tackle. For those who are saying that, please go to therapy. Go to get a psychiatrist, something. But you need help because there's just something wrong with your mentality if you think a defensive tackle is the thing that they lack the most. If you are going to go with the first... if you're going to go with a first overall pick or a third or a fifth overall pick right now, you're going with one of three positions in the Giants' eyes for me. You're going with a wide receiver, you're going with a linebacker, or you're going with a cornerback. Those are the three positions. Nothing else should be discussed. Anything past that,
I would
please
even
just
throw offensive tackle in there.
I'm not not for the number one. I don't like that could be secondary round. That could be second round pick or something like that in my eyes. I'm not throwing that out. But those are three picks. Defensive tackle enthusiasts right now, you're just go get checked out. Please go cheer for someone else, something, because I think it's the most moronic take I think I've seen so far, and it's by a lot. So there's a margin of people here that I'm gonna piss off with this statement, and I'm perfectly fine with it. But yeah, I just think right now it's not that big of a deal for them not to have number one overall pick. The Jets are doing just fine getting down there themselves, and I think they lose this game against the Bills as well. And maybe the Raiders, who know, maybe they pick up a late game win sometime next week, and they screw it up, and the Jets get the number one overall pick, and that would really be the shocker because if they get the number one overall pick and they get whatever pick the Colts are, which I think they're right now somewhere in like the middle of the pack, like the
Middle of the
15th
pack,
pick or
I
something
think.
like that. That's crazy good for the Jets. Right now, Jets fans, I'm excited for you. I know you don't want to be excited. I know Vic doesn't want to be excited. He's doing his best to feel depressed so he doesn't get that bit of excitement until next season comes.
Mhm.
But I know he's doing that himself right now. So but I'm excited for them to get some good picks. But that's how I just feel about the Giants pick here.
As it
And
stands right now,
that's how I'm with it.
the Jets have the 16th and the second.
That works out. That's really not that bad at all. So second and 16, first and 15, regardless, that's a perfectly fine thing for me. I'm looking at that at least.
Yeah. I don't think it. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter who got the first round pick because the Jets were going to trade up for it no matter what. I think they're set on trying to go for this guy Mendoza. They know the fans are pissed that they're clearly not even doing competitive tanking by putting in this third string quarterback and putting Fields on the IR. And this guy had personal reasons for not even playing Tyrod Taylor that they didn't even discuss. So it's very clear that they're just not there. I don't think it hurts the Giants not getting the number one. Yeah, they might have gotten a 5th round draft pick or a 6th round draft pick with the number one from the Jets, but overall the Jets were going to trade up for it no matter what. If they get it on their own, that's great for them because I'm sure they'll do some dumb crap and try and go even further up and give up their Colts pick, win another pick to try and sit somewhere in the top 5 and then grab a wide receiver in that. Not getting my hopes up at all because I've seen this happen already just a few years prior. So I'm going to stay that depressed way. Yeah, I don't think it hurts the Giants. The Giants, whether they slip down to 3 or 4 or 5, they're gonna go with what they go with. The only thing they would have been missing is a possible late round draft pick, like we were saying, because I'm 97% sure that the Jets are going to trade for one, even if they land at 2, because they want to secure that Mendoza pick. And not have an issue because honestly, right now, if it's the Raiders, they can easily go quarterback at 1. Not going to sit here and say Geno's career is done, but he's looked like he's former New York Jet. 19 touchdowns, 17 picks, a little over 3,000 yards, sacked 55 times, and in the past few years, he's been sacked pretty damn near close to that, and he still performed with Seattle. It was whatever.
Crazy.
46 sacks with Seattle and had 30 touchdowns and 11 picks. So I can't sit here and tell you it was the sacks or it was the lack of production from his team. I think he could make use elsewhere, or they could go for a quarterback and give him another. I don't know what his contract is there. Let the kid mold behind him. Whatever their situation entails, I'm sure they're going to go quarterback in the first round for that organization. Especially to Tom Brady's got a hand in there. He probably sees that Geno ain't the answer, and he's already later into his career, and he didn't take that same jump that Darnold did, moving to a different organization. He's seen a little bit of degression over progression. But yeah. I don't think it mattered. The Giants are still, like you said, the Giants are going to get who they get, whatever direction they decide to go as an organization. based off a team need. I agree with you. Um, wide receiver is definitely one of the three positions they need, and corner at defensive back as well. Um, the linebacker one obviously is always up there for me, but they can honestly grab somebody in the off season. They can put a presence or a name in the middle of the field in the off season, depending on how their money looks. I definitely don't think defensive tackle is where they need to go. They got some guys up there on that line that can grow and continue to grow together. They just need some presence on the defense as far as illuminating turnovers, or obviously a wide receiver. And it's hard to say where they're going to go until after the offseason free agencies. I don't know if they're going to grab someone off the free agency on the offense or defense. So I don't think it hurts them. They're still going to go with whatever direction they feel they need to. But I definitely agree they don't need to go on the interior defensive line. And as far as any of these other teams, if they do up one on the Jets and they get 2 and 3 and the Jets slide to 4 or 5, the Jets will still, they have the capital to attack one, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen because Woody knows that the fans are pissed. The players are pissed. Like, no one's happy in New York for this organization. You know what I mean? No one is. Even Aaron Glenn was frustrated yesterday. He's like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Like, yeah, I know we're not even competitively tanking. Like, Jermaine Johnson was like, yeah, I gave it my all. I don't know if everyone else is. So that right there just tells me there's like everyone's worried about going on vacation. No one's even trying to play. Like, you get blown out like that in your last home game. It's like Aaron Glenn, like, you came in and you started us off 0-7. I can't even say like we're tanking now. Like, we've been tanking since the first game of the season, pretty much. What have you done for us? It's hard to have faith in him because we only got freaking 3 wins, and you clearly ain't got no control over the guys in the locker room because they're all worried about going on vacation and not getting hurt in the off season. So they're all playing like a bunch of wussies. So yeah, that's all I got. I mean, the Jets will trade up. I'm pretty damn positive they'll trade up with whoever gets one if it ain't them.
Okay. All right, and then I got one last topic here that I wanted to talk about because we had talked about a lot of playoff topics. Obviously, going into Week 18, it's a big factor here. So I wanted to kind of touch on base here. Looking at the playoff tree, we're going to look at the as we already know. For those who don't know, it's going to be the number 1 seed of each conference gets a bye, and then the second seed will versus the 7th seed. The 3rd seed will versus the 6th seed, and the 4th seed will versus the 5th seed. As of right now, for both conferences, we already know that the 4th seed is going to either be the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens. And then on the NFC side, it'll be either Carolina or it will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to look at the playoff tree real quick. And I kind of wanted to gauge what you guys thought would be your matchup, like a matchup that you're excited for that could potentially happen after this week. So we're basically predicting, the lineup for this, that you just need to pick one matchup. It doesn't need to be everything. You don't have to set up the tree. And how does that playoff match happen? How do you get that playoff match to happen here? Like, what needs to happen in order for them to get there for your matchup to happen? And I think I'm going to kick this one off because I think that it's being, I think, a little bit more of a not complex, but a lot more shit going on to this to this question. I kind of want to just touch on it real quick so everyone else kind of understands. And I think for me right now, my matchup would be, as we talked about earlier, it's the one that I actually mentioned. For me, would be the one that I want to see happen, and I'm going to pick an AFC team here, and I'm going to make it be. I want to see the Patriots versus the Bills first round. I think wild card going into wild card day, that would be the matchup right there. That's the matchup I want to see going into this thing because it's a battle of youth. It's a battle of not, I guess, I don't know if you want to call him veteran, but it's the battle of sophomore versus guy in his prime already. It's gonna be Drake Maye versus Josh Allen, and that's a huge matchup here. A huge division rivalry that I would love to see because currently Baltimore's at the 7th seed and what's it called, not Pittsburgh, New England's in the 2nd. So I mean, for me right now, what needs to happen is basically Jacksonville needs to lose their last game. Denver needs to win their last game, and New England needs to lose their last game. And that's how this would, like, the easy way to see the setup. There's multiple scenarios on how it could happen, but that's how New England stays at the second seed here, without any tiebreakers. And then we have the Buffalo Bills just straight up just need to lose. That's all they need to do. Every other team could lose, but they themselves need to lose. And that'll be the second versus the seventh seed matchup here between the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. I just want to see that matchup so bad. We've been talking about it. We talked about it last week, Vic. We talked about it this week here again. As the primary topic, because I think that is the matchup that everyone's kind of looking at right now. That's what I want to see. There's storyline here. There's a lot of storyline here. There's the Josh Allen legacy. Can he overcome basically probably one of his biggest challenges to date, which would be there's no other elite proven quarterback here. We have Drake Maye, who's looking good, but he's not proven. This is his first real good season. Hopefully, he has more ahead of him because we have a QB issue in this league, and I want to see more QBs be great. It sucks it's on the Patriots, but I would love to see more QBs come out and really be great, like really good. Like I just want to see them come out and be excellent. So I think right now the storyline is here. Again, you have an AFC East division rivalry that knows no bounds. This is a constant battle between them. They're both going to be in the playoffs now this year. They're 1-1 against each other, playing against each other. They'll be playing in Foxborough this time, which I think they beat each other at each other's homes on the away because
Yes.
I think so. Buffalo came into their home last time and won. So now it's up for the Patriots to kind of come back and redeem themselves in that way. And then you have again the idea that Josh Allen has a legacy here that he has to really cement as, like Vic said last week, as the number 2 guy. In order for him to be the number 2 guy in the league behind Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes is right now the present, and as far as we know, continuing to be the future until someone else comes and dethrones him in a playoff scenario, which he can't do this year, but at the very least, he could at least get a Super Bowl because all those elite quarterbacks don't have Super Bowls because of Mahomes. So we need to see the Bills come out and win this game. The Bills are the underdog at the moment for this game, and they need to come out and actually win. Josh Allen needs to come out and prove and do himself justice to show that his legacy isn't just I lose to good QBs. He needs to come out and win this game. So that's a matchup I'm raring to go, and I will skip every other game to watch that one in particular if they're on another playing field, another team. That's like my diehard. I want to see this matchup happen come week 1 into the playoffs.
Yeah, another matchup. I would agree with you. A matchup that I would want to see is definitely the Bills versus the Patriots. And the easiest way for that matchup to happen is not even the way you said. It's the Chargers don't win and the Chargers lose and they keep the 7th seed, and Buffalo wins and they keep the 6th. You don't have to lose if you're Buffalo. All you have to worry about is getting the win over the Jets, and it's the Jets. And at that point,
well, no,
they are playing the Jets, right?
Yeah, they are playing the Jets, but if they win and the Chargers lose or whatever, then they go to the 6th seed.
They keep the 6th seed.
No, they don't, because they're tied right now. They're tied at 11-5. If the Chargers lose and the Bills win, then they go to 6th seed because they now have 12 wins than 11. So they'll have more wins than the Chargers. They'll move to 6th seed.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. I'm looking at the AFC playoff picture, and it says that I don't know if they have it the right way, but they have Buffalo at 6 and the Chargers at 7. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Right now. No, that's outdated.
So then, even here they have them at 7. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, Buffalo would have to just stay where they are and win, and the Chargers would have to. Oh no, the Chargers would have to lose, and Buffalo would have to win to keep or bounce up to 6. But yeah, it's that would be a nice first round matchup. But even if we get that in the second round, it would be interesting to see too. I don't want to just determine that this is going to be a matchup that I want to see right away. It's a matchup that I'm looking forward to, and I'm also looking forward to seeing the Chargers versus Denver, if that does happen. Because that would be a fun matchup. And it's a divisional rivalry game, just like Buffalo versus New England. And it adds more storyline to to the playoffs for both teams.
Denver doesn't play though this week, so they would be a divisional rival like thing. That would have to be that. So I was wanting to talk about
Denver
the
has
wild
a
card
bye week?
weekends. Yeah, Denver has a bye week right now, unless they lose.
So they can't get the first seed if New England wins?
If New England wins and they lose, yeah, then they will get in the second seed. But at the moment, yeah, they are first seed.
Wait, if who loses? You just said Denver has
All
a bye
right,
week.
so if Denver has a bye week right now, they are tied with the Patriots, and they're
Oh,
one.
you're saying they play week 18 though? You saying
They
had a
do
bye
play
week
week 18. No, sorry, not this week. But they have a
Okay,
bye
okay.
week as of
19.
right now going into the wild card weekend. So going into the wild card weekend, if so next week right now coming into week 18, if the Denver
hold
Broncos,
on. If Denver wins this week and New England loses, they are the number 1 seed in the
yeah,
AFC, correct?
and if both teams win, they're number 1. They just have to win their game. The deciding factor here is if Denver wins, they're number 1. If they lose, the Patriots need to win, and they'll be number 1. But no matter what, that's
need to lose.
and the
number
Jaguars
1's getting
lose.
the bye week, right?
Number 1's getting the bye week. It's the only team that's getting the bye week here.
Yeah, okay.
So that's pretty much how it's going here. So I mean, overall though, yeah. So it's like and I believe through tiebreakers, if all three teams, if for whatever reason Denver and New England lost and the Jacksonville Jaguars won, they would still be the third overall pick, the third seed based off tiebreakers. If I'm understanding,
it's going to go down the list of what the statistics.
Yeah, so
they'll run down the whole line to see who gets that number 1.
Yeah,
no matter what.
So right now,
it can only be one number 1. Only one team's getting the bye.
Only one. So it's gonna right now. It's the battle is basically between Denver and New England. So both of these teams, I think, are going to be starting their starters regardless in Week 18, just to make sure they get the win, because someone wants to get this bye week, and so that's kind of where it goes.
It's more of halftime decide what we're gonna do at that point, with starters being taken out of the game and stuff like that for the both teams.
And like for the NFC, the number 1 seed at the moment is what's it called?
Seattle.
Is Seattle? Yeah, the Seattle's got the number 1 pick. Not the number 1 pick. Sorry, the number 1 seed, and they are locked in. They are the number. Oh, actually,
they're locked in at number 1.
No, because they can, if they lose this upcoming game, they have less conference wins than the San Francisco 49ers, and they are below in division. So San Fran needs to win this upcoming game, and Seattle needs to win to lose in order for San Fran to take over. That's the only mix-up here. That's the only one that can happen. So San Fran and Seattle basically are in a whoever wins and whoever loses. If one wins, one loses, that person's going to be the division, not the division, but the conference champion. So San Fran could easily get the first round bye if they win and Seattle loses. Seattle needs San Fran to lose and they'll take it. So that's how that works there with them. So that's the conference there. So we got that going on though. So who do you got here, Vic?
Yeah, I'm going a totally different route than what you guys said. So I want Denver to clear first seed so that they get the bye week, and I want New England to be battle tested against one of these other QBs other than Josh Allen. So what I want to see is either Pittsburgh or Baltimore, whoever goes in, play Buffalo. And
right.
I want to see if it's Lamar. Does he get his redemption back from last season after losing by a 2-point conversion and a drop pass from Andrews? Or does the old man come in and beat Josh Allen and allow his pressure to swallow him? And you get an old versus youth, his last year, his last run most likely, come out and beat Buffalo. That's where I want to see Buffalo. I think Buffalo needs it more than anything to go out and play someone else before they play New England. And I honestly hope whoever New England plays other than Buffalo, they lose to. I don't want them getting ahead of themselves in the first round. And I honestly got more confidence that the Texans or the Chargers or whoever the hell that they'll wind up playing will beat them over Buffalo just because of Josh Allen. The pressure, you seen it yesterday, even in his game. Like, slow down the run game. He throws the ball a little bit too much, doesn't finish drives. I think he needs the stepping stone game, Josh Allen and the Bills. I would love for it to be either against. It can't be against the Texans because that defense will destroy him. And I just don't. If it's against the Chargers, it's just I don't know. I'd rather see Pittsburgh or the Ravens go and play Buffalo. in Buffalo or wherever the hell it is. It's probably going to be in Buffalo. And
no, that'll be whoever's the fourth seed.
that'll be because they lead the division, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd rather see one of these games. I'd rather either see Aaron Rodgers in his last year, his old ass, go in there and play a game against Buffalo, or I'd rather see Lamar, the Ravens story of the year, to somehow slip in the playoffs, and you see that rematch from last year, but instead of losing with a drop pass, they come out and they win somehow. I'm still rooting for Buffalo, but that's the games I want to see between these two teams, and I want them to go and play Buffalo. I think it would mean a lot for Josh Allen to beat either of these two teams in that division, especially if it's Baltimore again. It'd kind of clear him, at least like one of these guys got into the playoffs, and I beat him again, and it might help him continue to, in his head. But yeah, I'd rather see one of those two games. Obviously, I'm not saying I don't want to see the Patriots and Buffalo game. I'd rather see it in the next round.
Okay, fair enough.
Let them both earn their place to have that game take place. Let them both get there. Don't eliminate one.
Okay.
To not even have the chance to play each other. Like, I want you to both play two top teams. Pittsburgh and Ravens, if they make it in, they're a top team in their division. I don't care what their team looks like, and playoffs are different. We've seen Peyton Manning come out in the Super Bowl and get annihilated by Seattle first play of the game. So teams collapse in the playoffs.
What about Eli?
Yeah, well, I'll just give an example. Like, teams can come out and totally shit the bed first drive of the game, or they're going to come out and they're going to play their asses off like you kind of seen yesterday in the 49ers-Bears game. So either you're going to get a great game like that, or you're going to get a lopsided game and not expect what the hell just happened to happen. I'd rather see.
For what I'm seeing right now in the playoff bracket is that Buffalo is only going to go up against either Jacksonville or New England.
Yeah, and those are
based on there.
Yeah, based on everything
the winner,
else.
Whoever wins between Pittsburgh or the Ravens, they're going to play Houston, no matter what.
All right, well.
I mean, they could get into the fifth seed. They would Buffalo would need a win, and then Houston and the Chargers need to lose next week, and that would solidify them in the fifth seed. So they would be going up against, that would be the fourth versus. That's the only way they can get into the fifth spot here, because they lose the tiebreaker on both teams.
There's so much movement that could happen in this.
There
AFC.
is, and it's mainly in that last slot. So, but I think that's why I was about to ask you guys. Like, we all went with the Buffalo Bills in some form of matchup, obviously. Secondly, we all went AFC. Is the NFC just not as exciting? Is there any matchups that are just not as exciting, or is it just because of how wild the wild card is on the AFC that makes it such a more prominent thing at the moment?
I mean, it's the teams that are in the AFC that make it so interesting to me. The NFC is you have what? You have Green Bay and Chicago. Okay, that's a historic rivalry game, but at the same time, it's like Bud Williams' first year in the playoffs. Is it gonna be enough to go up against the Packers defense and the offense that has maybe their offense has been a little inconsistent this year, but are we looking at a very entertaining game out of that when you don't know what Club Williams is going to do his first year in the playoffs? And then we've all seen the Rams versus the Eagles. It's just a repetitive matchup that we've seen. And then you have San Fran and Carolina, and it's San Fran's story is all good this year because you have a banged up team all year and you're making the playoffs, and then you have a Carolina team that hasn't been there. I feel like that would be my only matchup I would really want to watch. Okay. And the Green Bay Chicago game. But it's when you look at the AFC side, it's just the youth there. It just makes so much games more exciting for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I took AFC because I got NFC winning the Super Bowl this year.
Gotcha. All right. Now I have a two-parter here.
Rams.
I have a two-parter here then for the lightning round here. So my two-parter is going to be, we're going to start off with the first one. I want to start off right into this. By the way, thank you guys so much for watching the podcast. We're gonna cut it here. We're going to be doing the lightning round real quick because I want to see what these guys answer with. So this is a two-parter question, okay? So the two-parter here is going to be youth. We have youthful guys here playing as QBs, right? We have a lot of good guys showing out this year, and there's three of them I want to kind of spotlight, and I want to know, who do you guys pick as your start bench cut between Drake Maye Bo Nix, and Caleb Williams.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. All right. For me, I'll take the bullet on this one. For me, right now, I'm starting Drake Maye. I'm benching. It's gonna be probably the controversial one, but I'm benching Caleb Williams and I'm cutting Bo Nix.
You had the same format because I was gonna say that and I didn't want to cut the bullet and go first because I was gonna say I'm starting Drake Maye, I'm benching Bo Nix, and I'm benching Bo Nix and I'm cutting Caleb Williams.
Starting Caleb Williams, benching Drake Maye, cutting Bo Nix.
Okay, now the two-parter
you're
here.
The more shocking one.
Now the two-parter here is I want you to take the person that you started out of this. Now I want you to do one more cut, bench and start here.
Caleb Williams is my starter.
I don't think you understand where I'm going with this one yet. But I was going to take, because for me, it's like basically for me, that's the guy that you view as the youthful guys that might be considered maybe like an MVP race here. So I want to take your guys' opinion, and I want to see who you guys start, bench, and cut between Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, and the person you chose to start out of your youthful pick. I'm not going first this time. I want someone else.
You said Matt Stafford and who?
Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, and whoever else you got there.
I'm going in totality here, though, because Matthew Stafford's at the end of his career. Are you talking about a future quarterback, or are you talking about a win this year quarterback?
I'm talking about a win this year quarterback. We're going off this season. We're going like right now, because you already know how I would pick that going into it, just because of the youth.
All right.
I'm starting Josh Allen, benching Stafford, or no, I'm benching Drake Maye and I'm cutting Stafford.
I'm starting Stafford. I'm benching Caleb Williams and I'm cutting Josh Allen. Going off of this year's teams and everything?
Going off of this year's teams. Yeah, that's exactly how I'm going here. All right, see,
Caleb
now
Williams
I thought
is way more battle tested than Josh Allen.
I thought I was going to have the controversy here. I might make this the real itself. What's it called? But I'm going to take here, my start is going to be Matthew Stafford. I'm going to bench Drake Maye, and I am going to cut Josh Allen based off of this year's teams. See, I like that. I don't know how you guys like that one, but I was like, let me do a two-parter you mentioned earlier. I was like, all right, let me make it a little bit of a thinker here.
I'm surprised you didn't throw what's his name in.
Who?
Oh fuck! I forget his name.
How the hell are you gonna say what his name is, and you don't even know what the hell his name is? I'm surprised you didn't throw Michael Jordan into the picture.
I'm drawing a blank right here.
Yeah, way to go. You draw the blank after you say, I'm surprised you didn't throw him in. Maybe that's why I didn't throw him in, because you can't even remember his name. What team?
I'm surprised you didn't throw C.J. Stroud in.
No, I'm not throwing him in there. He's in his third year right now, and like at the moment, he's not one of those guys that I'm really highlighting, because he didn't really he they're on a win streak, but he didn't really, like, for me, that was that whole defense that carried him. So I'm not looking at him as one of those three QBs that really did their thing this year. Bo Nix, Drake Maye, and Caleb Williams, to me, were the three guys that really had the spotlight coming into their sophomore seasons, that really did good. Because otherwise, I would have picked maybe someone like J.J. McCarthy, but I just wasn't feeling the idea of J.J. McCarthy, because obviously he's not. Everyone would have picked him as the bench immediately. That would have been the absolute obvious choice right now going into their second season, because he has the number one wide receiver, or one of the number one wide receivers, and we already seen how that season went with them. So, for me, that it just wasn't in the question for me with them. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the 14th episode of the podcast here. We'll be back at you next week. We're recording this again. This is on this Monday. We're recording again next Tuesday, because I will be back in my my new place. So new scenery, new everything like that. So we're going to be doing that. So enjoy. If you guys like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later on. See you guys next week, and enjoy week 18 of football.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys.